Welcome to the Chaos Sector. In the previous episode, I simulated an interview of Bethany, of her accounts of what happened that night. She was obviously withholding information and evidence, in which she became very nervous with the line of questioning. Let's continue with our simulation. We are doing this to show how law enforcement supposed to went about obtaining the information from the survivors. They had to reach a point where they questioned if the survivors heard screaming when they discovered their peers deceased and why it took so long to notify the authorities about it. This only leads to suspicious activity from the surviving housemates. A genuine detective would have to come to that conclusion. Let's continue.
Hey guys, the department has released a report to the media about the murders. To put it plainly, the investigation has been compromised. An affidavit has been officially released from Dylan Mortensen.
What? Let me see this.
I knew something like this could happen, that's why I wanted to work fast.
Basically, it states that Dylan heard noise, a dog barking, crying, and a male's voice. She also described the male as he walked past her, exiting the home.
Detective Flyer? He conducted a secret interview without notifying me. He knew I was working the case, and she was my witness.
I'm gonna take a wild guess that Dylan never mentioned anything about hearing screams.
I don't think so. She told him everything she told me, and even more. He simply is concealing that truth, and he produced his own chain of events for the report. I can't believe that fucker would do that.
It's no surprise. I never trusted him anyway.
So what should we do? Because it's not just Flyer, this is the department as well.
We're caught between a rock and a hard place. The department has decided to cover this up, and now we have private investigators ratcheting up the investigation. Not to mention the FBI is snooping around now. We have to figure this out without conflict.
There has to be something we can do about this, right?
This was a cunning move by Flyer. It shuts the door on the survivors being held accountable in any way. We can't publicly refute that affidavit, it's officially been reported by the department. We would look crazy if we did that. It was a smart chess move. And if we were to attempt to release those interviews, we have to go through the department first. That affidavit erases those interviews, we can't release it in any way. Although the chief is a man of honor, he has been silenced as well. Flyer was doing what he was instructed to do, it wasn't his call if you ask me.
Yeah, Flyer's a piece of shit, but he clearly didn't make this decision.
It wasn't long before the media ran with it, they're brain dead anyway. Listen how they push the lies, it's crazy.
New details emerge in the Idaho murder case. One of the surviving housemates, Dylan Mortensen, has given statements to the authorities. Moscow PD interviewed her recently about the night of the horrific murders of 4 college students. In her affidavit, Mortensen states she heard what she thought was Kaylee Gonzalez, one of the victims, playing with her dog upstairs. More activity followed, as Mortensen opened her door to check, but saw nothing. She then heard more noise, and checked once again, but saw nothing. Then, Mortensen claimed she heard what sounded like cries and whimpers, and a male's voice say, quote, "It's okay, I'm here to help you," unquote. At this point, she opened her door one last time, and spotted a man clad in all black, athletically built, with bushy eyebrows, and wearing a mask over his face. She stated that he passed by her, and looked directly at her, as she stood in a frozen, shocked state. Mortensen then closed her door, and locked it, and proceeded to go to sleep. Now, it is unclear when she woke up later that morning, but authorities say that she has been ruled out as a potential suspect. They are currently searching for this man who was observed exiting the home, as he is considered the primary suspect. We will have more details as more develops.
Seems Dylan has very vivid memory here. I think this description is of someone else. The killers wouldn't behave in that manner. They threatened Dylan and Bethany, no way they just left the home casually like that, after stabbing 4 people to death. This is what Dylan and Bethany are afraid to tell us, and we almost pulled it out of them.
Damn it, Dylan and Bethany are being protected by the department. I think this is the FBI's doing. We have no choice but to turn the other cheek, which I definitely don't want to do. And we still don't know who the killer is, and have no leads. We were getting close, they were about to tell us everything. All our hard work has been destroyed.
And you can bet your savings, we'll get a visit from the chief soon, and I'm sure the FBI will make their trip to our offices. This was a smart play, we are forced to zip it, or we could fight back. It's gonna cost us our jobs. At this point, it doesn't matter to me anymore.
Are you willing to throw 20 years of your career away? I mean, I know it's a tough pill to swallow, but I don't think they were guilty of murdering their peers. Meaning, their involvement in any way is not the primary objective for us. The killers are still out there, that's who we are focused on tracking down, right? Let's not go out with a kamikaze attack.
Jane's right, you have to think more strategically. I understand, and I even agree with the concept of fighting back. But Dylan and Bethany are accessories to the murders, and fighting to get them to talk, in the end, would be a waste of time now, because we have to think about public relations. The news media has obtained that affidavit, and they will create that narrative of her accounts. There is no real direct way to challenge that, it has to be done behind the scenes.
I have an idea. It may still lead to conflict, but at least we can inform the public about the actual accounts of the witnesses.
What is it?
Whatever it is, it's gonna cause a problem for us.
2 words, social media.
You see, it's already a bad idea. That's not working behind the scenes.
Wait, I think there's something there. On social media, you can become anonymous. Yeah, I see where Joe is going.
Exactly, we investigate anonymously, as normal people, concerned about the Idaho murders. For this, Jane will be the primary investigator, because she hasn't been assigned to the case, nor done any interviews. This is to keep the department and the FBI off me and John's back. John and I will just pretend we've conceded to the cover-up, and the department will be convinced we are going along with everything. We simply give her copies of the transcripts, and she simply presents it as a social media criminal investigator. There are tons of amateur investigators on social media, she'll blend right in.
That's not bad actually, it may work. So she'll present an analysis of what she thinks happened, without directly putting a blame on the survivors. Never using the actual interviews as evidence, but merely extracting from that evidence, and molding it into a predetermined analysis of the murders, as an inquiring citizen. I actually like that plan. There's a problem though, she does work for the department, she will have to acquire another laptop for this.
I like the plan so much, I'll pay for it myself. I guess it's time to take the investigation to the next level, right? We should stay in communication only in general, nothing regarding the case. This is to prevent any potential eyes and ears picking up on any suspicious activity. The chief will have a hard time believing both of you just gave up, that's more of my concern. I would suggest pretending to be a bit angry and maybe get suspended to convince the chief you're outraged, which you are, but, you know. This way, after that has been settled, you return to work feeling like it's best to go along with everything.
Jane has always been a bit slick, I owe you dinner for that. Just keep track of your internet activity, you don't want the FBI lurking behind you. If you search for too much regarding the case, you will draw unwanted attention due to your detailed browsing activity. If you search, make it very vague, like, typical questions about the case. Enough to create a series of videos, analyzing the murders from a citizen's point of view. And that series will blend in with all the other content creators surrounding the case. But what will separate you from the rest is a thorough analysis of the key details of Dylan's affidavit. This is where we basically pick up where we left off, with the interviews. Then as you transition through your analysis, it turns into suspicion of the survivors, which also picks up where we left off. I'm a genius.
Just so you know, I like my dinner a bit fancy.
Alright, enough jokes, let's get started on this. It's a very effective strategy. This is more about public awareness at this point. They need to know there is more to this case than what was stated in that affidavit. Jane, I want you to work on this in small increments, nothing major in a small span of time. I won't physically give you the transcript, it will be on a flash drive. I'll have my cousin deliver it to you, at the store when you purchase the new laptop.
My sister will deliver my transcript to you when you leave. Head to the gas station on Taylor Avenue, and pretend you're meeting an old friend. She will hand you the flash drive then. Now there is a potential obstacle, and that's the possibility that Jane will be tracked. But if we do a part in convincing the chief of our fake outrage about the case, I think there won't be any focus on her.
Yeah, that will help keep things discreet. But do not tell anyone about this operation, not even friends or family.
Sounds good to me, I guess it's a plan then.
We have no choice but to go rogue. We know the girls have knowledge of what happened, I'm just trying to figure out if they're directly involved.
I'm starting to think they are directly involved. For the department to change Mortensen's accounts, it means they are changing the entire chain of events. You don't do this, unless you want to eliminate the guilt of that so-called witness. Remember, they discovered their roommates sometime after the murders occurred. Which means, the scenario later that morning, was the result of figuring out how to make everything make sense to the authorities.
I agree, it seems they were accessories to the murders, now that I think about it. At first, I thought they were caught in the middle. But now, I think they are guilty of assisting in the murders. I don't think they were asleep at any point, to be honest. Alright, here we go, there's no turning back. This is the chaos sector.